and welcome back to the U Up Podcast. I'm Jordana Abraham.
And I am Jared Freed. It is so good to be back here with you, Jordana. How are you? Happy 4th of July. We're taping on July 3rd.
We are. Right now, when you're hearing this, it's July 9th or 10th.
That's right, but we are down to the wire. This is like the end of the semester. Like, this is like the bell rings, we run out, tear our shirts off, it's summertime.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of companies give off from like 1 p.m. this week, and we're starting right around
Not
then.
betches.
Yeah, we are.
You should have seen Jordan in the hallway. You will be here. I have a mansion to pay for on Long Island.
That was the company-wide memo I
That's
sent
right.
out.
The third wing of my house does not get paid for on its own. That was a weird speech you gave.
It was
inspiring.
Yeah, I just got everyone's got to show up.
My solarium does not pay for itself.
Jared,
get those memes out there.
I'm a meme driver.
I'm on one today. I'm sorry.
You are. No,
I
it's
came
okay.
in here.
It's okay. I'll get you back. I'll get you back. I'm thinking about it.
I'm easy to get back right now. I want to hear the saddest thing. Last night I was like, I did shows and I went to a bar after. I didn't even want to drink. I don't know why I was there. I was hungry. That's the thing about my whole eating schedule's off.
You're eating at the bar late, like late night, or you're.
This was sad. I got I had no dinner.
Why didn't you have dinner?
Because.
Well, this is why you were saying you need a girlfriend.
I need a girlfriend. My taxi light is on. I am not. Yeah, it's on.
I thought it was like 2 weeks ago where you were like, "Do I even want this?"
Listen. Someone out there.
That's so funny. I feel like you need to catch a guy when he's just feeling his most insecure and low, and then he'll be like, I need to find someone right now.
Me.
Right. And then you trap them before they come out of their funk and realize anything.
We were talking about who sponsors the podcast, the skincare company.
OneSkin.
I'm using OneSkin under my eyes, and every woman in here, Belle, Candace, you're like, you pat it on, right? I'm like, I'm rubbing it into my eyes.
No, you're making it worse. You're tearing the delicate skin below your eyes.
How the fuck would I know
it's
that?
It's the most delicate skin on the face.
I don't know anything. I thought I was improving. I was like, look at me. I'm an adult using skincare products.
Ugh, to be a man.
Right, and I don't know anything.
I've been using skincare products since I'm like 12 years old. It's sad.
Yeah, that is sad to me. 12 years old, you're like, I can't be aging. Like, what? Really?
That's the welcome to being a woman. That's just the message you're given by everyone.
We're going to get into women's issues in a minute in our news story, as I call them.
Who better to discuss women's issues?
No, I'm just, well, it should be nice to hear that I have no relation to the topic at all.
Yeah.
Like, I have some relation, but like, the topic is, let's just start with it.
Do you want to just
mixed weight relationships?
Wait, can we circle back though on you wanting to find a girlfriend?
Well, I was the whole premise of this show. No, I was at a bar and I was like, I needed to eat. I went to Wilfie and Nell. They serve food until later.
Okay.
And it's in the West Village. On the way home from the cellar, I was like, I don't know if I want to be here. I don't know if I should be out. I should just go home. I'll eat a protein bar and go to bed. And then me saying that to myself made me even sadder. You ever say oh, I'll just have an apple and go to bed, and you don't even get the meal?
It's kind of like where if you told that internal monologue to someone else, they would feel sad for you.
Absolutely. Yeah. Everything I said to myself, I just said it here. It's pretty sad. You can tell me in the YouTube comments.
It goes with your shirt today.
Right.
You got
skull and crossbones.
Yes.
Does this shirt fit?
I think so.
Oh, what a horrible answer.
I don't know. I'm not
so.
I'm not a fashionista. So.
Did I walk in and did you think, wow, Jared doesn't fit in that shirt?
Not at all.
Okay, so that's the answer. Not at all.
Not at all. Okay.
You can tell me what you think on YouTube.
I think it fits.
I don't know. I have an issue with this shirt.
What do you think? It's too
tight in the wrong places for me.
It looks loose.
I'm most self-conscious about my chest as a guy. Like I think that's my most.
That's weakness?
My spot. That's my weakness. I've done this my whole life. Maybe you noticed on the show, I wipe my chest.
I've never noticed.
Done it my whole life whenever I'm
And what
nervous.
are you most proud of?
Nothing.
No, there's got to what
big fucking loser.
What
is
part
this?
Of your
what
body?
Is this therapy?
What part of your body do you like the most?
I don't know. Nothing. What is this, Dr. Naomi? I don't like anything.
I don't believe you.
All right, so
your personality.
So I go to eat a salad at Wolfie and Nell, and I got a drink and
a salad, a late night salad. That's the saddest part of the story.
Can't do nothing right on this podcast.
That is the saddest part.
It is pretty sad. Well, they have
get
like
a
a
salad,
grain bowl. Grain bowl isn't a salad.
If you get a salad after 9 p.m., that should come with a therapy appointment.
You're right. I think grain bowl is like the there's a metaphor here.
It's like
There's
the
an
I'm not
analogy.
eating a salad thing, but I want to eat a salad.
Like, have you ever seen the calories on a grain bowl at like Chopped or something?
Yeah, they're
It's
higher.
always like 7,000. It's like a cheeseburger. It's
But
like
it's
a
healthy.
fake salad.
It's good. It's good calories.
Fuck you to whoever came up with grain bowl, because
I love a grain bowl.
love them.
Yeah.
And I know they're
If
not
you're
good
hungry,
for you.
if you're actually hungry, you need a grain bowl.
I was hungry, so I got the grain bowl, got some chicken on it. I also got the mixed nuts. I took the nuts, put it in the grain bowl.
Oh, okay.
Little
A
crunch.
chef.
I'm a chef now. I did feel embarrassed doing that. I was alone, and I didn't want someone like. Can you imagine like looking over, like, is he putting the nuts in his grain bowl? What the fuck is wrong with this
What
guy?
time was it?
Midnight.
Okay. Again, the timing makes the whole story weird. but
I
go on.
know there's these women that I see around these bars like regularly. They go and drink at these bars. They're very nice, girls.
You make them
I'm
sound
making
like call
them sound
girls.
whores. Yeah,
Like call girls. I didn't use the word
these
horse.
hookers. I meant hookers. Sorry.
Whores is very like Sopranos. Like
it?
she was a whore.
Who am I becoming? These whores out there working the streets. I don't know. I meant it in the working girl way.
This is the episode for you, women.
Right.
Okay.
We're going to get to women's issues in a second.
Yeah.
Jared, new segment. Jared's women's
Jared
issues.
solves women's issues.
So this woman, these girls they like do like a Tuesday night drinking. We met like at the bar. They're very nice. One of them goes, Jared, what's going on? Like came up to me while I'm like hovered over a grain bowl.
Right.
And she's like, and I'm like, have a martini, and I had a grain bowl, and she's like, and then next to me was my phone, my girlfriend, and then she saw my phone, she goes, are you doing the crossword?
Oh wow.
And I was like, damn it.
I mean,
So I couldn't have been a bigger loser.
and that made you think you need to settle down?
Well, it made me think like someone should be at home going, Jared, get home. I left you the rest of dinner.
Okay.
Like
You
that.
need someone to you want a warm cooked meal to come home to.
Right.
Like this is 1955.
That's what I
Yes.
wanted. Well, I wanted
Dinner
someone-
on the table by 6.
That's right. I'm like you when I get home. There shall be dinner waiting for me.
By candlelight.
No, you do have the thing of like someone should be like, what are you doing out? Like, like when you're left to your own devices as a single person.
Right. But isn't that what your favorite thing about being single? That you can
Sometimes
do
you
whatever
like
you want?
it, sometimes you don't. There's highs and lows. That's the whole point of single. Is it's highs and lows. That's the
Right.
problem with single and the good of single.
Yeah.
Highs and lows. Relationships are just medium
Exactly.
most of the time.
Yeah.
If there are highs and lows in a relationship,
Toxic relationship.
right, I think
yeah.
things are going wrong.
Yeah.
Again, there's exceptions. We went on a vacation. We had children. Like if you looked at the EKG
Right.
of a couple, there'd be like boop, and then
You're saying like
even.
it goes normal.
Right,
Yeah,
it would go
right.
normal, then it would be a giant boop, and then
Yes,
normal.
yes.
So like get
Stability,
married.
Right. Stability is like I would say, one of the main reasons to get married. That's like
Right.
societally, that's what you get. Stability.
Of course.
Yeah.
And so I'm in instability,
Mm-hmm.
just eating my grain bowl, going, what the fuck am I doing here? So that was my night last night.
All right.
I don't know. And I'm going to the Hamptons this weekend for the
Yeah.
show. Yeah. What are you doing for the 4th?
I've got various gatherings to go to.
Various gatherings.
gatherings.
This is vague.
I'm not going. Well,
Various
like
gatherings.
tomorrow we're going to Mike's friend's
What are you-
house. Friday we might go to Sammy's house.
Okay.
Saturday my friend has a house in Greenport for the weekend, so we're going out there for the day.
Okay, so you have
that's
various
what that's
gatherings,
accurate, right?
Yeah, but when
We
you
don't
say
have, like-
various
we're not, like,
gatherings, it
going
sounds
on a
like you're
trip.
hiding something from me.
Yeah. I'm having a party that I didn't invite you to.
Yeah,
No.
I wasn't sure if
Yeah.
the opening of the pool was happening this weekend.
No, I'm not opening the pool. I don't live there.
We gotta wait
Yeah, exactly. So that's why I needed various gatherings to get me
Right.
out of there.
to use other people's mansions.
Yes.
Yes,
So I'll be going to other people's homes.
I love it. Well, I'm going. So I'm
You're-
going to the. So we've discussed the show. I'm doing a show. It's already passed. It's sold. It's pretty much sold out.
It was great.
Thank
You missed it.
It was
so.
great. I'm sure it was great. But you've been asking me like, where are you going to stay? Have I told this on the podcast?
Have you told this on the podcast? We've talked at length about where you're going to stay.
But I haven't revealed what happened.
People have offered you places to stay.
And I don't like to stay in other people's homes. Okay, that is not something I like. The people of the Hamptons are very much inviters to their homes.
Right, we've talked about this. That's why they have these homes, to show them to people.
It is a thing. If you're from another part of the country, you've only heard of the Hamptons. One of the weird Hamptons intricacies is that they love having people at their homes.
Because here's the thing. The whole reason to have a house in the Hamptons is to be social. Otherwise, there's other beaches in the tri-state area that are much less expensive that you could buy a home at. Well, the point is to socialize and gather out there. That's why the real estate is so expensive there.
But this is a very New York, Long Island thing to know. I coming from Boston, the idea of like the Hamptons culture, I know nothing from it.
Right.
And I think nobody who comes here, then you start hearing about going out east and you hear these Hamptons parties. It is just a very different planet.
Right.
To most people in the country.
It's very elite.
It's very elite, but you only start to hear about it when you live here. Mm-hmm. And so, but then people invite you to their homes and I'm always like, I'm not staying at someone's fucking home. I just not for me. So when people were messaging, it wasn't surprising that like people who love this show were like being like, come stay with us.
Oh yeah, but then you got to sing for your supper.
Right. I don't want to like be performing the whole time. So I'll do an hour on stage. So I keep getting sent pictures of me on the wall at the West Hampton Theater. Like people, apparently it's on the corner of like Main Street and downtown.
Oh.
Because I have been sent this picture 50 times of me on the wall with friends being like, look who's made it. I just saw your face. I've gotten so many people send me a picture of my poster on the wall in West Hampton. This is for months now. Hey, look who's coming. Hey, I saw it. And I got sent it by Hannah Berner. Right. Famous personality comedian Hannah Berner. Everyone knows Hannah.
The Hannah Berner.
And she sends it to me, and it's a picture like, look who's made it. She's fucking with me, which is great. And I wrote back, hopefully I wrote back something like, I'll be sleeping under that sign because I got nowhere to stay.
Right. And
she's like, well, come stay with Dez and I. Dez Bishop, another comedian friend of mine. And I'm like, now I felt like I invited myself to their home.
Well, right, because you gave her, it feels like you gave her the opening where she had to say something.
Right.
I have nowhere to stay.
What was me? Yeah. Sad, fat loser me.
Do you know anywhere I should stay?
Look at me eating a grain bowl at 12. That's what, yeah, right. Yeah. And I was like, and I immediately like backed off. I was like, she's like, come stay with us. I go, no. I'm joking, whatever, please. I'm a loser. Don't touch me. Then I got a text from Dez. You're staying with us. Please.
Wow.
And I'm like, and they're being so nice. And
so
I'm
nice that when someone does that again, then you actually believe that they want you. It wasn't an empty gesture.
No, it wasn't empty. And Dez is now texting and DMing, come, you'll stay with us. We got this great house. And, and Dez has lived out there for a long time. Like he's like been a part of the community out there. So I know that he's like very comfy, cozy out there too. So I was like, I guess I'm staying with them. And I guess and then Des is like, and I had to reach out again this week.
You're going to be like Carrie Bradshaw in the episode. Carrie. There's an episode where she goes to stay at her friend. I feel like I bring this up. I've been rewatching Sex and the City in case anyone was wondering why I just reference them constantly. But she goes to her friend's house and she's talking about how she has to sing for her supper because she has to tell them all of her horrific dating stories.
Oh, to keep the conversation alive.
Yes, as like her payment for staying at this house.
That's so funny.
But then she sees I don't know if she sees his penis. Like one of the guy is like walking around the house and she sees his penis and then she becomes very awkward and then she has to leave.
Really?
Yes. So I hope that doesn't happen to you.
Well, hopefully I see Dez's penis at some point. Yeah. I'll have my penis out.
I don't think you would leave. You would stay
I'd be
longer.
Like, Dez, good for you, man. Not circumcised. I should have known. Irish.
There you go.
So I'm Carrie this weekend. I'm going to go stay with them. And then I had to follow up. I'm like, I followed up being like, hey, are you sure?
Here's your out.
Please tell me that a cousin's coming. There's no room for me. I'm letting you off the hook. He's like, stop this. He literally was like, stop it. You're being ridiculous.
You're making it weird.
I was definitely making it weird. And she said that He said that Taylor Strecker's coming with her
Oh,
with her
wow.
wife,
Okay,
and I'm like,
so it's not just you.
no.
Are you guys sharing a room?
It'd
It'd be funny if you get there and he's like, there's like a corner for you to sleep
There's
in.
a couch, you know.
Yeah.
There's the cat's bed. You just sleep on top of
Yeah.
that. So I was like excited. You know, I know Taylor. She's great.
She's great. Love Taylor.
So it's all good, especially Hannah, Taylor, Dez, all good conversationalists. So I don't think
All middles.
all middles, right?
House full of middles.
That's
Will
right.
anyone get a word in?
As Larry David would say, it's going to be a lot of riffing.
Yes.
So that's what ended up happening. I'll have more on the story after it happens, but that's what I'm walking into.
Well, I'm excited for you. Your first July 4th weekend in the Hamptons. Gonna be wild.
Right?
Yeah. Gonna be busy.
And I've had people reach out. My parents' friends. I didn't realize I knew all these people.
Yeah.
Out east.
They probably saved you like $2,000. So.
Yeah, I mean, well, that's the thing. What do I get? What do you get them?
Oh, I didn't even think of that. Bottle of wine.
Dez doesn't drink.
Hmm.
I don't know Hannah as a drinker.
Okay. Fruit
What
plate.
Fruit plate?
I mean, you're not gonna
I
get them.
show up with a fucking fruit plate.
I think you're gonna have. That's what you're gonna have to do. Like dessert.
Flowers, dessert.
Dessert. Yeah.
Maybe I'll send something.
Don't
after
do
the
flowers.
fact.
That's not you.
Big bouquet.
Yeah.
Candace just laughed at the idea of bringing flowers.
Right. Free tickets to the show. Are they coming to the show?
Well, Dez was like, "Is anyone opening for you?" I honestly, I couldn't pay for an opener. I can't afford.
Maybe
to
he
do
wants
this
to
show out there.
open for you.
So I said, "Dude, if you want to do time," he's like, "I don't want to do like." Well, it's like, you know, like comedians. You know, I think some comedians are better at taking off than I am.
Yeah.
So the idea of like, do you want to do like? I felt like an asshole. I was like, "Do you want to do 10? Like 20? Whatever
He's
you
like,
want."
No, I'm on vacation.
Yeah,
Fuck
he's like,
off.
right. He's
Yeah.
like, "I'm not out here working. I know these people.
Right.
I'm a Hamptonian."
Yes.
Right?
You're the servant.
Right. I'm the
Yes.
loser.
Yes.
I'm the clown brought in for their entertainment.
That seems to be the theme.
That's always the theme. What are we
All
talking
right,
about
let's get into these. Let's get into these mixed weight relationships.
Mixed weight. Is this like an attempt
Or-
to get me
or,
canceled? Like I don't understand.
what
Like
was
what
it?
mixed. I just don't. This seems like the meanest topic. That's what I don't understand.
Or as I saw in one of the tweets, interracial relationship.
It's just the
That was
dumbest
the best thing I saw. Interracial.
is very funny. Okay, so Forbes article sparked debate in response to conversations around Bridgerton's latest season.
So I know you don't read, so I took
I don't
one
read.
for the team by reading the
you.
article. And the article was basically like, are we as a society ready for a mixed weight relationship? I guess talking about some sort of feedback or backlash to the believability of the relationship on Bridgerton.
But
where there's-
isn't every sitcom a mixed weight
well,
relationship?
that was a
That's
lot
what
of
I
the
don't
response,
understand.
and people were showing pictures of like King of Queens and like, but they were saying that the backlash was like, oh, it's only an interracial relationship when, and again, I'm just going to keep using that term to make it a thing.
Interracial, it's great.
It's only that when men are the ones who are overweight. When,
Right.
or it's not.
When
Or it's only
women.
an issue. It's only an issue when women are. Otherwise, it's accepted as normal.
Yeah, I don't like this topic at all.
Yeah.
Like to me, why I call it women's issues, because like this isn't like, I don't think a guy writes this article.
The thing with the original article is that it was like before the season even released, it was trying to say that this is an unbelievable relationship, just nitpicking everything about this character and about like before you've even watched the show, this is already not something that would happen in the real world, which was just the dumbest thing. So the Forbes article was drawing attention to it, like calling this out as what is the actual issue here, like what's wrong if there's.
Right. And then people were mad at the Forbes article also.
I think they thought they were naming it. Like,
For
I think
naming
they
it
thought,
mixed weight
For
relationship.
but I looked it up
continuing
and there were actually articles from like the past several years talking about mixed weight relationships.
This is a thing that exists. Mixed weight relationships. is
Interracial
like,
relationships.
Interracials. I just don't. What did you think about this? I just think it's stupid. Like I think it's like.
I mean, here's the thing. I agree to make it like a trope seems silly or like weird. I do think that societally or like on TV or in movies there's usually not that depiction. I don't see that depiction very often.
Right. Well, here's the thing. Like it's one. Yes, this is something new that is being done on TV. To see a curvier woman with
Right.
a slender man.
Right.
You don't see that on TV a lot.
Exactly.
I would say Bridgerton did it to get attention.
Okay.
I don't think they're above the idea that, like, look at us.
Right.
You know, I don't think anyone trusts anything anymore as not.
I mean, everything has its own agenda
But
or
I'm saying-
its own
but-
thought process, or isn't done accidentally.
But that's the thing. Is
Right.
like we live in a time right now where no one trusts anything is done as it is.
Well, because it's not.
Because it's not. Because Father Algorithm is what we're all trying to pray to.
Right.
So what makes Father Algorithm listen to you? Extremism.
Mm-hmm.
So this article is written in bad faith because they're saying something that is mean, that everyone has thought. It's an uncomfortable thought.
Right.
That goes, oh, look at that couple. That's something I've never
not something
seen
you've
before.
seen very every day.
Right. You don't see, curvier women with a very, skinny guy. And if you see it, you go, that's new.
Right.
And I don't think anyone likes that their brain goes there.
Agreed.
And so when you write about it, you're basically looking to find people who would be angered to hear someone say that out loud.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how the algorithm works. You get two, and that's why we're in the predicament we're in 2024 generally, where everyone seems like they're fighting about everything. And the people who are rational and reasonable, and we sit here because I call this women's issues because I don't think these are insecurities of women. Mostly, I do think.
Well, I think there's a reason though.
Right.
Right.
But guys are there. Like, to me, I can trust a penis.
Okay.
I go, this discussion, like, I don't know. Like, I do think it happens with men. I
think it's kind of important to see stories like this, right? Because I think that obviously, like, the culture affects what you see on TV, but what you see on TV affects the culture.
Right.
And representation that you see on TV does make it more normalized and does make a less of a weird stigma around it in real life. So
Right.
I think it's actually quite important to see, like, if we never saw an interracial relationship on TV, that would also be weird. And I would imagine that, like, the more you see that depicted in the media, the less taboo it becomes for real life.
Right.
That trickles out into, like, actually the rest of society.
Well, I think what we want is for things to be fixed right away and different right away, and that's just not the way it works.
Right.
Like, this is nice for a young woman who's 13 and really enjoys this show. It might be has a curvier body at 13 and says, look it's not weird here.
Right, I'm the main character in this show.
Right,
Yeah.
and it's not even being it's not like the whole first episode is about this insecure woman with boobs.
Right.
Which is a lot of the sitcoms we grew up on, where it's like, I'm insecure about this one thing, and now it's like, oh, it's weird?
Yeah.
I'm weird? Like, that's, it's nice that kids don't have to be told, you should, look at this star who's insecure about the thing that you are. It's nice that it just is.
That's what I'm saying. I think the more that it just is I think they both affect each other. So the more that you could see that it's normalized on TV, the more normalized it is in real life.
Right, but then you see an article like this, and it's like, are we just picking a fight? You know, like, I don't even, like, to me, it's nice. If someone said that to me, like, look how nice it is that, like, there's an interracial relationship from the female end of things, I would go, oh, that is nice. And I would go, cool, good for young women who
you
can
wouldn't
see
have
that.
to write an op-ed about it.
The op-ed is to me, is the bad actor.
Right.
Like, I don't need to be told. I'm 39. I get it. I get why a young kid, there's a good world for them to live in. I think if you're, for the people, the original article and then the blowback at the blowback, those are people that are wasting their time.
Right.
To me.
Well, they're just enjoying the internet algorithm of fighting with one another, which is working because that's what we're talking about.
Right.
Now,
And we're
all
sitting here
these
talking about it
TikToks.
because it's viral. And, I don't know. I hope we give, like, a sane approach to these things. I don't mean to, like, bat down that.
No, I think that that makes a lot of sense. Especially, it's nice to hear it also from a male perspective. All right. Well, I think
did we solve
I
weight
think we
issues?
solved weight issue, interracial relationships.
Interracials. Interracial. I don't know. I just, it's one of those things that, like, I talked about this last week. Like, assholes. Like, I think, like, there's this brand of guy on the internet who knows what people are insecure about. Mm-hmm. So he, like, speaks horrifically about those things. But, like, the normal Jims and Joes like that I hang out with and know,
Are
like
not
it's not
monsters.
as angry.
But that's why that's why there's no one list that doesn't get clicks. What
Right.
What a nice plot line. Doesn't get clicks.
Right.
I'm outraged about this. Gets clicked.
Right. But I've
Or
had
this is how everything should be. Gets clicked.
right. Right. I don't know. I'm scared for the future.
That's why the
when it
internet's
comes
such a
to-
dumpster fire.
It really is.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's, not to bring, the debate last week, you just saw like after the debate, like you saw like the internet, like it felt like the heat got turned up.
Yeah.
You could feel like the temperature change
Well,
in the
'cause it
room.
angered-
People really got.
It angered both. No matter what side you were on, you were like mad.
Yeah, everyone.
Yeah.
It wasn't. There wasn't one person.
Who was like, that went well.
Right. There wasn't one person
I'm
that was like
pleased.
hopeful.
Yes.
And it just was wild. So like that, I was just like, there was a day. I remember like I was in Nashville last week, and I was just like on my phone. I like literally like threw it across the room, and I was like, ugh, I can't
Right.
even listen to it.
I remember seeing I didn't even watch it because it gives me too much anxiety, but I saw all the clips and the stuff online, and it was just like one of those things where you're looking at it and you're just like,
Right. Well, it's a little bit like, oh my God, I have to like, the same loser assholes are going to be back from 4 years ago. Like it's almost like we've been on vacation from like the people who like,
well, it's like when you're in a room with two people who hate each other, and then
Right.
you're going back. To me, it's like my parents. Just like if my parents had a debate, that's exactly
That's
how
what it would look
that's
like?
exactly how it would go. And I always say debate. I mean, if my parents like had a discussion,
Yeah.
that's exactly. I always tell you, like I tell you, both my parents say that they raised me on their own.
Right. That'd be a fun debate to watch them talk
I know
out.
they both
Yeah.
they
Who
both
raised Jordana?
they both have that claim. They
Yeah.
both think they were like single parents,
Yes.
which is just so funny.
Right.
So that's what it would be like
Right.
to watch
mean-
them on.
I mean, I was in Nashville the next day after. I was like in a pool at Soho House, like as one does, and I'm like just sitting and enjoying. And I start talking to this person. And they're like, "Did you see the debate?" And I'm like, I just wanted to take my hand and smush them in the face
Right.
and like push them away.
Get
from
outta
me.
here.
Get out of here! Like, is that how you talk to someone you just met? How about how's the weather? Isn't it hot?
Yeah.
Can't we talk about normal things? It's like,
Well,
oh my God.
Do you remember when
These
talking about
idiots are
politics
back.
used to be taboo?
Right. And then it became, if you're not talking, you're an evil monster. You gotta be talking. And it's like, I don't even know.
Yeah.
I'm
Well, there was
just
a
gonna-
comment on our YouTube page.
The YouTube
from-
comment is wild. I hate to bring up one comment
Yeah.
on a show that gets
a
hundreds
million
of
positive
thousands
comments.
of
But I
nice
saw that
things.
comment this morning. It was someone being like, have you thought of talking? You're talking about like the Heathrow Airport. Have you thought of talking about politics? But then immediately the rest of
Right.
the people come in and they're like, "Shut the fuck up!
Right.
We need this,
Right, like-
please, please stop."
Right, like, and someone wrote a very smart thing. They're like, that's like walking into a Mexican restaurant and being like, "Where's the Italian food?" Because it's not like we're the only podcast on the internet. Like, there's
Many places to find people discussing this stuff.
right, and it's like, are you out of your fucking mind? And listen, I hope they're here right now. I hope you're watching on YouTube. I think you're a fucking asshole. I think you're a piece of shit. You came to a fun podcast. You're like, where
Came
the
to our place of
discussion?"
worship.
Right. We came here to talk about fucking.
Yes, for a break from all this shit.
Yeah.
And you're welcome. Let's get into our show.
What are we talking about today?
Hey, J&J, cutting to the chase. What's the best way to tell a guy you're not interested in them when you work together?
Get away, pencil dick.
Loser. Every year, I do a local film fest in my city. I really enjoy it. The place I'm stationed is chill, one of the easier theaters to work. And I overall enjoy the team I've been working with there. The problem is that two guys are on my team who I'm worried mistook my friendliness for something more. They're nice enough, but not really my type. Neither of them really take care of themselves. Okay. They're having grain bowls at midnight at a bar.
I'm insulted.
You made
Sounds
your own joke.
Sounds like
by the
we
way.
got an interracial relationship going. They don't really take care of themselves. Thanks for thinking of me right away.
You started it.
A grain bowl is a healthy option
It is.
publicly.
They're a bit awkward, and a few years
In
older than me.
theory.
In theory. They're a bit awkward and a few years older than me, but work-wise, we got along on shift, so I would chat and be friendly when we worked together. Ever since then, they've pretty consistently texted me, tried to hang out, DM'd me, responded to my stories, and kind of badgered me about why I won't hang out each time.
Oh, no.
Each time I politely declined, made up an excuse, or just responded shortly / unenthusiastically, hoping that they'd get the hint, which they didn't. I had to block them both from my stories because I was tired of them responding to everything. That's like me with like relatives.
It's a smart move. It's a worthwhile move.
Totally.
The block from stories.
Because you're just like, I don't want to engage with you or feel the pressure to have to respond to your response.
There's nothing more human than thinking of one person as you post a story to all the people.
Yes.
You know?
It makes me stressed because I enjoyed working with them, but they aren't my friends. So having to constantly reject people's attempts to hang out makes me feel bad. What's hard is that I like working the festival and want to do it again, but I feel like it's a lot of pressure to remain polite when they message me because we'll probably work together next year again. I feel like I've dropped all the hints possible to show that I've got my own life and things going on, but they're not taking the hint. It also feels like it's one of those situations where if I do nothing, it'll continue. But if I react and say something like, I'm not interested in talking / hanging out outside of the festival, I'll get a defensive / negative reaction. I hope I don't sound like I'm bragging that two men are bothering me. It's one more than the other, but I've noticed it with both. Any help is appreciated. Too long, didn't read. How do you reject the advantages? How do you reject the advances of someone you work with when they won't take the hint? Thanks, a stress betch.
This sucks.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to this person. Sucks.
I'm
It's
sure you
annoying.
get stuff like this a little bit.
You know, I relate to her
Yeah.
because
This is why I'm
you're-
such a bitch, so no one does this to me.
it's a really good brand decision you've made. I
make sure I'm unfriendly enough that no one could possibly think that I've ever wanted to hang out with anyone ever.
I really am jealous of that. I walk in, hey everybody, oh, hugs all around, oh, honk honk, you know, like, and then I get text, well, when are we hanging? And I'm like, oh my god, fuck. I mean, also you're the turd in the punch bowl. She said it right. Like, I don't mean, you can tell her email's great because it's like, I don't want to be bragging. We
Right.
don't think you are. You have two men that want to hang out with you. They're not your type. They're not your vibe. It sounds like you go back. I don't know.
How do you chop someone's head off?
Right. And you go back to your local film festival in my city. Like you're doing a thing that is like really for pleasure, you know, and it's probably industry adjacent. It's something you like doing. You're probably doing it as like a favor.
Right.
It sounds like when you say I would do a local film festival in my city, like it's probably like something good for the resume, but not something that you need to be doing.
Right.
And these two sound like they're local yokels, you know, and you're kind of the excitement that showed up. You have the Instagram stories they're responding to. You're exciting. You're fun. You got a cool life. And maybe their world is a little bit smaller than yours, which is totally fine. And I kind of envy that of a lot of people that have smaller worlds than me. But they're kind of like trying to hijack your world because you're a fun, you know, good-looking person.
Right.
So how do you say that? And you've blocked from the
If
stories.
you're going to see
you've
someone again, how do you reject
well,
them?
because
No.
they don't, to them, the few times a year that you come waltzing into their lives,
It's the highlight of their year.
right, and they're like, of course I'm going to ask them to hang out. And, hey, we're working together and we get along well. Let's go get drinks afterwards. You're not going to hang out? Like, I understand from their perspective, it's not that big a deal, but it could be more. Like, that,
Right.
you know,
Well,
I
it's
had
a-
this happen. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, sorry, go on.
I had this happen recently. I had this woman that kept DMing me. Your mom knows my mom.
I think we mentioned this.
I put
right?
this on my
Yeah,
Instagram
yeah.
stories because she kept writing, your mom knows my mom. I just want to say hi. And I'm like,
Okay.
and
Hi.
hi.
Right.
Like, I don't know.
Right.
and
This is like a huge. Well, this is a huge thing for them that they have this connection. To
right.
you.
And honestly, like, to me, I'm like, who would ever think this connection was huge? Like, I don't think that highly of myself. Again, to
Well, this is
people,
something
like,
she probably tells other people. Like,
whatever it is. And she goes, I just want to say hi. And it's like, I have to assume she wants to go on a date. Like, that's kind of my assumption. And
Right.
then I respond, like, and then I wrote this whole thing on Instagram stories, and she called me an asshole. She's like, you jerk.
I could see that.
My mom knows your mom, and my mom knows a lot of moms. Okay, let me just start with that. That was like my whole premise.
Right.
It's like my mom will start talking to this glass
Right.
and tell the glass that she has a single son who does comedy, and do you know the Betches? She goes up to everyone. Do you know the Betches? Like, she brags about you. as much as she brags about me.
Love it.
Do you know the Betches? You know the Betches? She walks around Boca asking people if they know the Betches. So
I'm very flattered.
from the other side, if someone's like not an outgoing extrovert, like my mom is, oh, Kim, I know Kim. Everyone knows Kim.
Right.
Oh, he's got the son. So from my view, it's like, oh, my mom wants to say hi. I'm like, yeah, my mom says hi to everyone and tells everyone to say hi to me. And then I have to deal with the fucking bullshit.
Right.
So then I wrote back to her. She goes, oh, you don't have to be a jerk. I just want to say hi. And I wrote back to her. I go, where does this hi take us? She goes, I don't want to date you. That was her thing. I'm not trying to date you. I just wanted to say hi. And I wrote back, where does this hi take us?
Right.
And she wrote, I just want to know, like, I'm a fan of your stuff. I think you're hilarious. And she was so nice. And I wrote, thank you very much.
Yeah.
I really appreciate it.
I get why she thinks you're an asshole.
Tell me.
No, I get why she because it's like, again, people only know the world that they're in, right? So in your world, she's like another person that you now have to respond to make some sort of discussion with, or like maybe she does know your mom and you don't want to be rude, and it's like just kind of like a burden on you to even say hello, right?
Right.
But from her world, she's like, oh, she doesn't know what your life is like, that you get messages like that all the time. So in her world, she's like, oh, I'm gonna like do a nice thing and like tell this guy that I like love what he's doing, and like that we have this mutual friend, and that I'm also a fan.
Well, which is very nice, but like to me, and this is where I relate to this woman, it's this, they have her by the balls. They have the moral vantage point.
Right.
They
it's not very self-aware.
Well, because they get to say, I just wanted to hang out with you. And this woman's like, I don't want to date these guys. Like, this woman's like 3 steps ahead of them. They're like, why don't you hang? And then maybe they're writing like flirty things, but they can always go, I just wanted to say hi.
Yeah.
Just like this woman. I just want to say hi. I don't need a fucking friend. I got no friends, and I like it that way.
Well, you know what I mean? It's funny. That's what a lot of women deal with men who come back into their lives, who they used to date, who didn't want to date them. It's exactly like this dynamic. I'm just saying hi.
Right.
I just wanted to like say what's up.
Totally agree.
Whoa, like, why are you getting so angry?
Right.
And it's like exactly what you're saying. Like, I don't need a friend.
Right.
What are you saying? And then what? Where does this take us?
Where does the high go?
Right. Well, I'm saying women should take this lesson that you're saying about that.
I'm relating to them.
Right. And say it to any man who tries to come back in your life who didn't want to date you.
That's right. Or any man that's bothering you.
Yeah.
Like, where does this
both?
And both. Listen. I read this email and I was like, I was brought back to this woman. I just want to say hi. I didn't want to date you. And it's like, yeah, now I had to drudge this person up. And someone could be hearing this from me going, Jared, what a fucking dick. Or you could be relating so highly that it's as if I'm tickling your fucking ear. Because I read this email and I was like, oh my God, these men are the hi girl. We just want to say hi. We're just, what? We're just the local losers.
So how do you respond to them?
Want to get a drink with you, big city bitch.
So what she does, put it on your story,
right.
Write a reason that you don't want to do what you did.
Right.
Put it on your Q&A.
Screenshot what they wrote.
Yeah.
Say, look what I have to fucking deal with. They'll say, what a dick. And then you go, where's this? Well, I would say if I were her.
And let's say you were going to see the girl who DM'd you. My mom knows your mom. Let's say you're going to see her every year.
Well, I do think I put a cap on it because I said, where does this hi take us? She goes, then she got to explain herself. I just want to know,
right?
Let you know, like, our moms like know each other from this and that, and I love your comedy. And I wrote, I probably lost her as a fan forever.
Right.
I just wrote back, thank you very much. I'm so happy you're enjoying my stuff. I brought it right back to professional.
Right. So what does she do though?
I don't know. Well, I think there's 2 things. One,
thank you for enjoying my stories.
Please check in here for ticket sale opportunities when I come to your town. I would say to this woman, you, what you need to do is cut off their head. Like, I think they're saying, what, we're fun guys and we work well together. Like, again, from the woman's perspective, from these guys, it's all from the key of me. It's all, I'm a good person.
Right.
Why wouldn't they want to hang with me? And if something else should happen,
maybe they'll be flattered.
Right.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a romantic opportunity, but they do have you. So I think for this woman, like, you either keep living the life you're leading
Right.
which is
just
an
feeling
option.
mildly uncomfortable a lot of the time. But
Right.
again,
That
it's
is
mild.
an
It's mild.
It's not that
Yeah,
bad.
right.
It seems like
Yeah.
this is like a normal nuisance,
Yeah.
not a dangerous one.
Mm-hmm.
You said it's one more than the other. I think anytime they go into flirty, if it even goes flirty, you have to cut off the head.
Right.
So men don't really take strays. You got to hit them in the heart. So any
It's flirty, like, do you want to grab a drink when you're in
What-
town?
Right. Do you want to grab it if it's like that? Do you want to? Hey, I really appreciate that you're reaching out. I really don't have a romantic interest, so I would really like to keep this professional.
Oh, I just wanted to hang out, like,
Totally
as friends.
totally understand. I always start with totally understand. I hear you. Totally understand you want to hang out as friends. I'm not looking for that relationship. This is purely business to me. Anyone
All
listen-
about the festival.
Right. We have a festival to take care of.
And then, but then
it's
when you
easy to
see
make fun
So what
of-
do you do when you see them in person then at the festival?
Good
next year?
day, sir. Festival time. You know, like you'll be. I don't know. You just go.
Yeah.
You just. But again,
And after the first time you see them there, it'll be like a little weird, and then it'll be fine.
This is
Yeah.
different because of the work angle. Now, if there's a guy that's like reaching out to you like softly to like hang out and you have no interest, you can't say maybe another time. You can't say,
Right.
hey.
She's saying hints. He hasn't gotten the hint. I
Right.
agree. She needs to be more direct.
Right. And it's like, and you have to be direct about the romantic.
Mm-hmm.
If you're direct about the romantic.
If it's clear, because it's sometimes if they're not super clear if it's romantic, it is hard to
Listen, the woman that said, I just want to say hi. You know, like, oh, I didn't want to date you. It's like, okay, easy for you to
Impossible.
say. But
do that. Have you seen me?
I eat grain bowls at midnight. You don't want that life?
Exactly.
I think like this happens more regularly with like guy who, you know, that you see at work. When are we going to go on a date?
Right.
Maybe that's even extreme. I don't know. I think but I was saying like guys don't really, you know, it kind of relates to the mixed way, the interracial relationships. It's like, you know, I don't think there's anything harder on themselves than a woman. Like you guys are particularly hard. I mean, you're doing skincare routines at 12.
Yeah.
You know, this guy's not hard on himself. He's like, I'm me. I'm great. I'm funny. Sure, I don't take care of myself, but
Sure. Yeah, sure. I could take better care of myself. And what else?
and
did
I
she
work
call
at the local movie theater.
Yeah.
And this hotshot producer comes to town once a year.
Yeah.
But like, hasn't she heard me quote The Office?
Men need to have more insecurities and more self-loathing. So that
Or
they
you
can
could
be...
match us.
Yes.
We could go the other way.
Oh yeah, that's possible. Or we could have less. Whatever.
Let's do an awkward encounter.
All right,
You
want
ready?
to read it? Okay.
UUP@betches.com. J&J, love the pod. Been a listener since the beginning, have been to every live show. Thank you. Jared, stand up in my city. Thank you. I want to tell you about an awkward dating encounter that happened over 5 years ago. Ooh, ooh, ooh. I had just graduated college, moved to a new city. After a few weeks, I decided to try the apps for the first time. I had never done them, so the idea of meeting up with someone was pretty intimidating to me. After a day of drinking, I got back to my apartment and started a conversation with a guy who I had been going back and forth with on the apps. He responded pretty quickly, and after about 30 minutes of chatting and some liquid courage, I decided to invite him over. Maybe not after a day of drinking, doing your first
Yeah.
dating app experience.
I
Might
wouldn't-
not be the way to go.
I don't think so. Yeah, this is not easing in.
Right.
You have to have the dating experience that every newbie has on the apps where you talk to someone for a month and never meet them.
Right. Yeah.
That's
have that.
that's the first dating app experience.
The
for me.
real romantic
Yes.
one. At the time, I smoked weed a lot. So while I was waiting for him, I thought I'd take a few hits of my pen. Bad idea. I started to get paranoid and began freaking out over the fact that I had just invited someone over that I had never met to my apartment. I was in such a cross-faded panic that I didn't even think to just tell him to not come over. He got to my apartment. I brought him to the living room and said, I'll be right back. Then locked myself in my room and just didn't come out. He sent multiple texts asking if I'd come back, and I just ignored them until he left.
This is great.
Hello?
I love this one.
Hello?
I'll be right back.
Are you in there? Can you imagine? You like, I got ghosted at the apartment.
At
of
what
someone
point would
else?
you leave? Like how many minutes?
Of them not answering?
Yeah.
I would be so anxious from this. Like this would from the guy's
That you did
side,
something wrong.
What did
Yeah.
I do?
Right.
Like, am I? Did they die?
That would be scary.
Like,
Yeah.
I'd be like,
right.
did I
yeah.
walk in here? Am I?
I would be worried that they were dead.
Karen
yeah.
Reed, like, am I going to trial? Is this my Netflix special? Okay, so the next day, I felt awful. It was so mean and rude. I sent an apology text where I quasi-lied and said I was more fucked up than I realized, true, and accidentally fell asleep in my room, false. He actually responded saying, don't worry about it. We can reschedule for next weekend.
That's nice.
Guys will do anything to fuck.
That's so sweet.
Right. He's like, you ghosted me in your own apartment? We'll do it
Would
another
you say
time.
that?
I'd
Or
probably
would
be
you
nice.
an empty gesture?
Well, I'd be happy to hear the answer that she's not dead.
Right, yeah. Or mad at you.
Right.
Every morning in Cannes, Aileen, Sammy, and I would get a text from Jared. Is anyone up? Are you guys mad at me?
I drank a lot of martinis. I'm not going to lie.
We were never mad at you, ever. Okay.
I just kept imagining. I kept like.
It was
waking up
one
in the
day we
morning.
all woke up late and we weren't answering you for a while, and I think you really thought we were all very mad at you.
Well, if you don't respond within 10 minutes to whenever as everyone mad at me texts, you are now an asshole. Like
we were sleeping.
I know. Well, the only response is we were sleeping.
Yes.
So I literally was.
We were just deciding amongst the three of us if we were mad at you.
How do we talk to him about
yes.
this? I couldn't believe that he actually wanted to see me again, but I was excited for the second chance. This is where, like, it is funny that, like, men get this, like, this is, to me, like, him being unoffended is, like, should be inspiring to anyone on the dating apps. Like, this guy met her on a dating app, went to her place.
I would have been offended.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think a lot of women would take this in stride.
Right. Well, here's the thing. If it was a day of date, it's less insulting than if we had a plan.
Fair. That's
Like, if you're drinking before the last minute
right.
meetup is less insulting than we have a plan on Thursday evening and you show up
you were all
wasted and
high.
and lock yourself in your room. Yeah.
We made a plan for a week or so later, and day of, I texted to confirm. He responded, can't wait, just don't fall asleep in the bathroom. Ha ha.
Love it.
I was kind of confused by that, so I asked about it, and he responded, well, the first time we hung out, you fell asleep going to the bathroom.
Who says men don't listen?
That's right. Meaning that for the entire first time, he thought I fell asleep on the toilet. I was so embarrassed, but also hysterical. What a first impression. And for my very first Hinge date, we mutually fizzled out shortly after, but well worth the story. Hope you get a kick out of this one. Best not yet potty trained.
I like this one a lot.
Good sign
Very
off.
funny.
Very funny. Very awkward.
Yes.
It's very like sweet that he took it in stride and
Totally.
like, and again, like where would he? It's not like he imagines you shitting yourself sleeping on the toilet. Like in his mind, like
Right.
it's
You're
just like a little
fell asleep
nod
on the,
off. Yeah.
I don't think he thought about the details.
Right.
Or like in the shower or something. This is funny. I feel like I'm kind of surprised she was like taking hits if she's didn't know how it would affect her.
Well, she's a big. I think it's the mix, and it's like
Right.
the anxiety,
Yeah.
all mixed into one. I have someone new coming to my apartment. I'm going to calm myself down. They say you're chasing a dragon when
Totally.
it comes to like using substances to get ready for a date. Like,
It's a very fine line between I'm feeling confident, a little bit more relaxed, and
Totally.
I am too far gone.
This is a lesson for stand-up. People tell you don't drink before shows because
Not even a drink?
I generally don't drink before shows.
Right.
Because in the beginning, I was told, I was given advice for the first 2 years not to drink before shows because it starts at one drink and then you need two, then you need three.
Right.
And then, now you're drinking every night and you're face first in a grain bowl at midnight.
Yeah.
Like,
I would say one drink maximum before a date.
Yeah, I don't even think that.
If
I've been
that.
on dates with women who they have one drink, and I'm like, we're not even at the same level. I never
Really?
drink before a date.
Not even one, like,
I
just
do,
to
not
relax?
never. I've drank before a date, but I'm like, it's not something I'm like have a drink
Right.
to
Well, I guess
go to my
everyone
first
knows
date.
their own body and how much they can handle, but
But this is my point. I don't think they do.
you don't.
I have my only thing before a date: protein bar. Whether we're eating, not eating, I don't want to be, hungry, Jared. I want to be right of mind, sane, lucid Jared.
Maybe that's what helps you feel relaxed, having a protein bar. Maybe for someone else, that's a glass of wine.
I think I've been on dates with people who are like, I had one glass of wine. I'm like, who is this person?
Right. Yeah. I mean, if you're going to eat, if you're going to do a glass of wine.
Well, I just don't think people realize I think people think one glass of wine is the same no matter when one glass of wine is had. I don't think that's the case.
Oh, definitely not.
Empty stomach, one glass of
That's
wine.
what I'm saying.
Anxious, one glass of wine. Nervous, one glass of wine. Just talk to my mom, one glass of wine. You know, like there's a lot of different versions that I don't think. Again, you're chasing a dragon. The fine line you're talking about.
Right.
Like it's like.
That's fair.
I think protein bars.
And
the way
for
to
me,
go.
if I had I often have a similar experience to this person.
Yeah.
I don't smoke very much. If I do, it has to be like before. It would have to be before bed.
Right.
When I would have no social interactions.
I'm
because
the same way,
I'm very like I get extremely paranoid. And someone gave me an edible when I had my braces in.
Oh my God.
And I had a very intense lisp the entire night, and then I wouldn't speak. It was a very traumatic experience for me. So I generally.
When I had my braces in.
Yeah.
It's just such a funny sentence.
Do you remember when I had my braces in Prewood?
how
You
could
would
I
all
forget?
remember
Yeah.
those episodes.
Yeah.
So since then, I try not to smoke
No smoking. I'm the same.
Yeah.
I'm not a
in front of
a
others.
weed guy.
Anyway,
No, I got to be in comfy confines.
right. Yes.
Drinking.
Definitely not before my first ever dating app.
No. This
Yeah.
isn't the way to go. Especially with a pen. You don't know how much you're pulling. So is the pen working?
Right.
And now you're fucking high as
No,
shit.
totally. Anytime I've ever smoked, I needed to be with like a professional, aka someone who smokes much more than me, who's like telling me how much you can take. you know.
Absolutely. Now, if it's heroin, that's not a big deal.
That's easier.
Yeah.
Right.
Let's do another email.
All right, let's do it. Hi, Jane Day, longtime listener and huge fan of the pod. You truly do the Lord's work, and I'm hoping you can help me with my latest situationship.
You're welkies.
A little over a month ago, I received an Instagram DM from a friend of a friend out of the blue asking me out. I knew he had gotten out of a 7-year relationship earlier in the year and didn't think much of it. We ended up going on a bunch of dates, over 8 in a very short amount of time. I was clearly falling very hard for this man when in the morning after one, he told me he was still sad over his ex and was not in a position to be a romantic partner, but he still liked me and wanted to be friends. He proceeded to text me and DM me every day, and we ended up hanging out and obviously hooking up. It was seeming very relationship-y to me, but he was very vigilant that he could not be a romantic partner at this time, needed more time to heal. He says he needs more time to heal, run. And just didn't want me to wait around even if there was a possibility of us being romantic in the future. I'm still unsure if he just doesn't like me or if it's situational. He insists it's situational, but I'm not sure.
I mean, what is the difference?
It's that I don't like you.
Yeah.
No, who would say that?
He doesn't want to marry you.
Yeah, what's the easier answer to tell someone?
No,
it's situational, or I just don't like you.
That's not. She's not. Those are not the options. She's an asshole.
All right.
Well, I'm saying like
she's the asshole. He's
an
going
asshole,
mad.
but like you're putting. Are you?
She's the addict.
Are you
He's
not?
the dealer.
I know, but are you not
it's on
hungry,
him.
or do you are you not hungry, or do you hate eating? No, it's are you hungry or not hungry? It's not. Are you hungry? Do you hate eating?
Okay.
Like I think the question she's asking is one. And this is a predicament men get put into a lot. And I agree. He's the dealer. He's in the position of power. He should know enough to
Why are you telling that someone you're not interested in a romantic relationship and then DMing them every day?
Right. No, this is not to say he's not wrong, but the premise, do you like me or is it situational?
Fine.
Is just a false.
It's both. Okay.
Just tell me you think I'm a fucking horrible person.
That's what we want to hear.
That's what she wants.
Yeah.
Cut my head off or lift me up and tell
Or marry
everyone
me.
you love me.
Yes.
Yeah.
Marry me or cut my head off.
Right.
Consequently, I told him over text a few days later, because I was falling very hard and I could see a world in which I get very heartbroken by this whole thing, that I need to take a step back in terms of our friendship and initiate a period of no contact. Smart.
I love it.
He told me, this is all over text, that he really liked me and hoped we could be friends in the future. This is where I think I erred. I told him I needed 2 weeks no contact instead of just initiating no contact and reaching out when and if I felt ready. Here's my question. Do I need to reach out after 2 weeks because I said I would? He expressly said he would wait for me to reach out. Do I owe anything to this man? If I want to still date him, is that more or less of a reason to reach out? To add to my guilt about the situation, at the end of his last relationship, his girlfriend told him to absolutely never contact him again, and he was very sad about that. I don't want to be a shitty person, but I also know that I like him and I could see this ending poorly for me. I also don't want to live my life based on fear of failure, but trying to be realistic. Thanks for your thoughts. Wondering if other people can relate.
Anyone can relate.
This reminds me of what you were just saying in the previous email about how women are always second guessing themselves and sort of feeling insecure, and men are not. She's feeling insecure about setting her own boundaries with this guy who doesn't give a shit about how she feels at all. She's worried about hurting his feelings.
Totally agree.
It's
I
crazy.
know I just called her an asshole, but like she's
very thoughtful.
She's not a shitty person. She's made no mistakes. I don't believe in making mistakes. I just believe in, like this, you need to like free yourself. She's being so hard on herself. She's worried about how he's healing from his last relationship.
Right. And how
he's not your fucking problem. You're not the nurse.
Totally. And how not talking to him for 2 weeks is going to make him sad.
Right. No, and that you promised 2 weeks.
He doesn't care.
He doesn't give a fuck. He only cares about himself. And I think she needs to start caring more about herself. Like,
agreed.
And the thing that she writes, add to my guilt about the situation. Here's the thing. It's over. He's not going to give you what you want.
Never, especially not if you go back and contact him after 2 weeks.
Right. And she says, I don't want to live my, I could see this ending poorly for me. It's currently ending poorly.
Right.
This is poor.
Yes.
This whole situation is poorly done. Let's get away from it. Let's move forward better.
Agreed. It's ending poorly for her, and it's ending perfectly for this guy.
Right.
He's getting everything that he could possibly want.
Also,
he said he's not looking for a relationship. You're still hanging out and hooking up.
Right.
He gets the affirmation daily from the DMs and all that stuff that you still like him.
And you're being nice to him.
Right. And you're concerned about how he feels.
Well, what's funny is that she's like, he keeps DMing me, and I give him 2 weeks, and then she hears the story about the ex, and she doesn't see that they had the exact same ending probably.
Right.
Because the ex says,
never contact me again.
Never contact me again, which means he was doing this with her too.
Right.
So this is his like binky. This is his way of coping with loneliness and ending of a relationship. He's doing what he did to this last woman to you. And it took this last woman going, never speak to me again. And he goes to the next woman, I'm sad. And it's like, now you're a caring shoulder because women are nurturing.
Right. As if he had no part in why that happened with the ex of 7 years.
Right.
And it's annoying because guys, I think, like you said, no guy thinks he's being a bad guy.
No.
Guys think they're a good guy, and they think that sometimes with the communication, they think more communication makes them a better guy.
Right.
And it's because it makes them feel better about themselves. Oh, she doesn't hate me. She's still talking to me. We still have this thing. And like,
it's the same reason he said situational over not like you.
Right.
He is trying to glide out of this. He is Sully Sullenberger on the plane that can't land, trying to land this on the Hudson. He's trying to skid on the water,
right,
and ease this plane into the water, and then get in his life raft and ship off to some other plane.
Totally,
that's what he's trying to do, and it's a little, it's a little bit. I admit it. It comes from a bad thought of women, that women are so crazy and emotional that they'll go nuts and turn into the Tasmanian devil if you tell them the truth.
Well, I also think it's more for him than for you.
Like, yeah, he doesn't want to deal with the Tasmanian devil.
It has nothing to do with caring about you. It's about his own self-esteem and his own feeling good about himself. He doesn't care about how it's just more about so he doesn't have to deal with an angry you.
Right. Deal with angry
because
you.
It's actually harder to break up with someone and then not contact them at all.
Right. The honest answer, do you not, is it situational or do you not like me? The honest answer would have him coming back going, I don't see us ever getting married. And that's why I'm ending it.
Right.
That is really hard to say to someone, but that would be the honest answer.
I would appreciate that. I think more men should say that.
I think more women should accept it.
Fair.
I don't see us ever getting married. I think you're great. You're going to be great for someone else. Ain't for me.
I would have loved if men from my past just said that to me.
I think that's why most relationships end. But they don't speak in those terms because then it comes back to you. I wasn't asking for marriage. Well, you are at some point. We're not moving towards nothing.
Well, maybe you could get there.
Right. Well, if you just see me during the summertime.
If you just saw me during the daylight, not at night. Maybe you get to know me and you realize you would want to marry me.
Right.
Have you ever thought about that?
My friends think I'm awesome. Right. That's the premise.
Have you ever thought that once you got to know me, you might be more attracted to me, not less?
No. That's the assessment he's made. It is funny you say that. It is true. He has thought about that. Right. No matter how little you think he's thought about that, he has thought about that. And that's difficult.
Well, in my mind, every man that's dumped me just didn't know me well enough to know that I'm perfect.
Right. Exactly. Listen.
Right. Because if he really knew me, he'd want to marry me.
You know, is wild. It is so funny to be, you see her from women, so, the insecurities and the confidence in one podcast. And I agree with you. I think most people say that. If you just knew me,
you'd love me.
You'd love me.
Yeah.
Yeah. And this is what she's saying to him.
Right.
And he's saying he's not even trying. And the thing is, when someone says,
I think that might be the case. If he knew her, maybe he would love her.
Yeah, but he doesn't have the ability to. Someone who, and I see eye to eye more with that than anything. Mm-hmm. He doesn't even know how to go down that road. He's not letting himself down that road. And she's saying we went on 8 dates and they were great.
Why is he letting himself down that road?
I don't know. I wish I knew. What's he afraid of? There's commitment. There's the future.
Right. So it's not really her. It's not really me.
No, it's never her.
Right.
She's great. She wrote this nice email.
So what is it? Why won't you marry us?
I don't know. Oh. He wants to eat a grain bowl at
midnight. Yeah.
Without anyone
Without you
asking.
down his fucking throat. Okay.
Are we doing another?
Did we solve that? I don't know. Whatever.
Let's play some games. Podcast is off the rail. Who listens to this shit anymore?
Idiots. All right.
I don't know. Again. Happy 4th of fucking July.
It's over. It's over.
It's past.
Yeah.
Happy summer.
Midsummer. It's midsummer. Okay.
Let's play some games. Red flag or deal breaker. Interesting situation happened to me recently. I wanted to get your thoughts. I'm a 35-year-old man, and I recently matched with a woman, 33, on Tinder. After a few days of chatting, I asked her out on a date. She told me that she was unfortunately busy the next 2 weekends. A week or so later, we ended up going out for coffee after work, but over the supposedly busy weekends, it became clear to me that she didn't actually have any real plans, since she was constantly texting me and communicating to me what she was doing. On the second date, she came clean and said she had lied about being busy, saying that that was something she did to get to know guys better over texting and hopefully filter out weirdos. I told her I had already sussed this out and said that I was of the opposite belief. I'd rather get to know someone in person relatively early on. My thinking is that I don't want to create I don't want to create an idealized version of someone in my head that doesn't correlate to the actual person on the other end of the dating app or text chain. I'm a big believer that nothing is real until it's in person, and because of that, I don't want to invest a significant amount of time into talking to someone before grabbing a drink. I would also argue that texting over a longer period of time would in many cases not be a great way to filter out bad matches. But I'm also a man, so women may feel differently about that point. I get that women on dating apps want to be thoughtful and careful, and that weeding out aggressive or strange men is smart, but I can't help but feel less than great about the dishonesty. She lied, so I would have to talk to her for weeks before our first date. Our story page, it is not. I disagree with that.
Same.
We aren't seeing each other anymore, and we didn't split up over this. But what do you think? Red flag or deal breaker? I do think they've split up because of this.
Because, wow, how so?
Well, I think there are two different ideologies. Mm-hmm. Like, the thing that he brought up of, like, I'd rather get to know someone in person right away, and she's making sure they're not a weirdo. These are two different types. The discussion of like who's right and wrong. I don't think either of them are
either right or wrong.
Right.
And in terms of like lying, I think everyone you need to lie in a dating app scenario.
Yeah, his move to be like, aha,
right?
You could go on a date. Like he doesn't sound great.
I don't like that. That doesn't make any sense to me.
Right.
People lie all the time on a dating app. Oh, why can't you do Thursday? Because I'm going on a date with someone else.
Right.
No one would say that.
You wouldn't.
That's what I'm saying. People lie to get to set up whatever scenario makes sense for them and makes sense for the other person that they don't know that well yet.
Right.
To tell them about why they're doing all the things they're doing.
No, again, I'm with you. The idea that the red flag or deal breaker, they lied to not go out with you for the first 2 weeks, not a red flag at all. That's what people do. I agree.
Would it be better if she said, "Hey, I prefer to actually like to get to know someone over text for a little bit before going out. Just that's just how I prefer to date."
Right, but even that would be too honest. Like, what haven't I done yet?
Yeah, I agree. I think she didn't want to make a big discussion over it, but that's her preference. So she just did what she wanted to do there. I don't think it's a big deal.
And I think like his version of dating isn't a big deal. I agree with his version. I want to get to know someone.
I think that's fine also.
He made it a little bit of a morality thing, which is annoying. You know, like he's like, I think you should, I don't want to do it, hear an idealized version of you. I agree with the sentiment, but I think I understand it's different folks, different strokes. You know, I can understand
both mentalities.
I've been both mentalities. I've been, let me text with this person and see what it's like. I've been, meet me out tonight, let's just go out.
Right. A lot of it depends on your literal mood at the time you're speaking.
I totally agree with that. So
I agree it's not a morality thing. He's being a little annoying about it.
He's made it into like, I need to be right.
Right.
Which,
instead of this is my preference.
Right.
This is my preference is fine. You're wrong is annoying.
Right. And to say, well, we didn't
and you
get
lied.
together for other reasons. No, you didn't get together because you're kind of like, you're not a match. You know, like this,
Agreed.
this whole discussion is not a match, you know?
Right.
Let's
All
do
right.
another.
So we're saying neither a red flag nor deal breaker.
No, liars are green flags.
Love it. Hi, J&J. Feather. I just saw you in West Hampton, Jared. I'm sure they loved it.
I'll be sleeping outside after Hannah Berner and Des Bishop kicked me out of their home.
Exactly. All right. My fiance and I listen to you guys all on all our long drives. He constantly talks over the podcast with his thoughts, and then I have to pause and rewind, so it takes twice as long to listen. But we really enjoy all the conversation it sparks.
What kind of an asshole talks over other people?
Both of us. Both of us. Red flag or deal breaker here. His mom is in her single woman era.
Oh!
She's a widow and has been dating strong to try and find her new life partner.
Love it.
We love this for her. However, every man she has dated so far has some sort of absurd red flag. So her current man, who she's fallen quick for, as she always does, says they can't go to his house, so he always comes to her, only on a Saturday for their usual dinner and dessert. Her words, quote unquote. We all know what dessert is. Okay.
They fucking big time.
Nice.
Old fucking.
Nice. The reason she can't go to his house is because he's divorced for 2 years, but still lives with his ex-wife. He is very successful, so there's seemingly no financial reason for him to still be there. Red flag or deal breaker, a concerned bitch-in-law.
Listen, there's nothing funnier than the red flags of an older man.
Yeah.
Like, this is not even a surprising email to me.
Why?
Live with your ex-wife at like in your 60s. Like, you hear these things about like separated couples and how they kind of like work out their relationships or like what their thing is.
Their arrangements.
Yes. Right. And all of them are, when said in plain English, are absurd. And then you meet them and you go, I kind of get how this works.
See how you got here.
Right.
It's kind of like,
right. Yeah. And for this person, I actually disagree. There's no financial reason for him to say, no. There's plenty of financial reasons.
What do you think it is?
Well, I'm just saying the idea of like, let's get an actual divorce, or if they're divorced, but then let's sell this house. And living differently than how you're used to is a financial reason. Whether you're thinking he's a successful guy or not, you don't know.
Right.
So,
well, he doesn't want to move to a small ass apartment.
right.
He can't maintain two of the same large houses.
Exactly.
But he could find somewhere else to live, but it wouldn't be as nice.
Right. He'd live differently than he's living now, and he's an older man who doesn't want to do that. So this to me is not that big a deal. Like if my mom was widowed and
well, it depends what my mom wants.
Able to have dessert with a man.
It depends what my mom wants. Right.
Right.
If my mom wants to be in a relationship that is headed towards marriage and a serious commitment, then yeah, I would say this is a deal breaker for my mom. If my mom is looking to have fun in her later years and not necessarily looking to settle down, is dating, and this is working for her, that's fine.
I actually disagree. I think if my mom was like looking to get married and like in the future, but she was okay with the arrangement he had, but with letting him know that at the same time, this arrangement would be more of a red flag than a deal breaker.
If what?
Like,
If
hey,
she-
I live with my ex-wife. We live in 2 different rooms.
Yeah.
We are cordial and cool. The kids are good with it. Like, this kind of works for us. And I'm seeing your mom, and I'd rather like go to her place to have dessert. And
you're saying that that's good. That's okay.
not good, but I'm saying that's what it is. Like, I would understand.
You'd be okay for your mom to date this guy,
I would be okay with it as long as it
even though your mom wants to get married herself.
if she's letting him know that I mean honestly, he's more likely to marry her
Because
she's got her own house that he can
He has
move
somewhere to
into.
stay.
Yeah, he's got somewhere to stay.
Well, that would have to be his eventual plan. I'd have to know
Right.
how serious he was about finding his next relationship or potentially actually getting divorced.
My question to my mom would be like, does he know that you want like an actual like live-in partner?
Right.
How does it all work out? I'm just saying I'm not like running away from
It
guy
all seems very
living.
convenient for this guy, though. He's like,
He's got it all figured out.
he might not even be separated. Who knows? This would be
I would
a
also
big red
encourage my mom-
flag.
It's a
for
red
me.
flag. It's not a deal breaker though. For me, for my mom, listen. I'm not trying to kill off my dad and find her suitors.
This
at
guy
this
wouldn't
point.
last 1 second with
No,
my
no.
mom. She would rip him apart.
He wouldn't be living in that house.
His wife would be dead by the end of the month. No, I'm just kidding. Jokes.
Let's do one more. You ready?
Yeah, let's do it. All right.
Let's get into it. I have a red flag or deal breaker, and I'll keep this short and sweet. Met a guy while doing sport.
What does that mean?
It feels like this is
Doing sport.
I think this is like
Sounds like
from
someone who
abroad.
doesn't know what a sport is.
right.
Right.
An alien came
I
here.
was doing pot with him.
Super fun sport we had. Wasn't super into him romantically, but he's decent company and someone to mountain
Okay,
bike.
now we know what the sport was.
We're biking. A couple hangouts in, moves were made, and what do you know? We had a wild, sexy, sweaty night. Not the kind of guy I see myself with, but I'm also only in the area for 2 months. He knew this pre-bang. So when the sex turned out to be pretty good, he's good company. I figured he might be some good company for activities beyond the bike while I'm in town. Okay.
Are you interested in bike sport and more?
If he heard this, he might be turned off. I guess
Maybe.
he's better than just he's good for a ride and a ride. Until 3 days after we last had sex, and I'm having a wee, and a motherfucking 3 days after we last had sex, and I'm having a wee. This has got to be an English woman.
I feel like Irish or something.
Oh, maybe you're right. And a mother trucking condom falls out of me. This guy failed to tell me that while we were getting busy, not only did the condom fall off, but obviously did not make its exit with him. I'm freaked out because I don't know when it fell off, what I've been exposed to, and if it was one of the rounds where he finished. Have I been walking around for 3 days with a cum-filled condom in me? I am absolutely mortified by all this and have only told my closest friends and you and all your listeners. But the general consensus is to block and delete this man. What do you think? Is leaving a potentially cum-filled condom in someone and not telling them, exposing them to potential infections and or pregnancy, a red flag or deal breaker? Thanks, a bitch who's too old for this shit.
What do you think?
They've really pushed us into a corner. To me, okay.
Well, here's my question. Would you always, I don't think a man would know that it was inside you if it was gone, but he would know that it's not on him.
Well,
right?
I guess, like, I don't mean to sound, I'm going to sound
You
bad.
tell me as someone.
But this is
knows,
this is kind of my point.
Yeah.
She pushes this into this red flag deal breaker into a very tough corner for me to disagree with.
Okay.
When she says, not telling me that you expose me to potential infections and or pregnancy, I hear you. I don't know how the sex, were they drunk when they had sex?
Right.
Did he put on a condom? You guys started having sex. It didn't come off. He pulled out. It wasn't there. There was, alcohol, forgetful. I can understand how it feels the way she's positioned it. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe
Right.
I'm just being
I
naive.
can see what you're saying.
Right,
You might not notice, or I definitely don't think you would know if it was in someone.
Right. Or it fell off as I pulled out.
Right.
I don't know. She makes this into it could only be devious
Right.
how this happened. Because, again, it's not like he, was like, oh, yeah, I'll put a condom on. Put it on, took it off, stuffed it in her vagina to hide it. and then fucked you and was like, oh, thank God, no condom. Like, that's the kind of how she makes this sound.
Like you had horrible intentions.
Right. Yeah. And again, I'm being a little naive, Jared. I can understand how someone would be like, Jared, you're allowing that. I'm not allowing, I'm trying my best to just offer that this, like the idea, like block and delete. I don't know.
I can see a situation where this could happen and the person might not even realize. Again, were they drinking? I think that's a big part of it.
Right.
Would he have the thought of it? I do think it's fine for her to text him and say, hey, found the condom in my vagina.
Right.
I would have appreciaed it if you would have told me.
Found the Offie Coleman.
How much money did I get? Where's my prize?
Right.
I found the condom came, especially if she's not
3
trying to see him again. Yeah. I found a condom came out of me today.
Yeah.
It was from when we had sex. I would have appreciated it if you had told me that the condom was not on your penis when you pulled out.
Right.
Hurt my feelings. It got me very anxious that I have
a huge vagina. I don't think like not telling him is the move.
I think she could tell him and be like, it made me very scared and worried that I had contracted something or potentially gotten pregnant. If this ever were to happen again, I would hope that you would tell the person that you couldn't find the condom,
also,
or the condom wasn't on you when you pulled out.
As an adult, can you walk me through
what happened
from your
memory?
End,
yes.
From your memory. And if he said, there could be reasonable explanations. I'm not like asking for you to be asked to lie. I'm not asking you to ask someone to lie to you.
Right.
I mean, if someone said this to me,
what would you say?
I would feel horrible. Mm-hmm. I would go, I don't know.
I've been looking for that. I was wondering where that went.
I would say, I've been tested, but I'll go get tested again, so that you feel comfortable. That would be, I think, the right thing to do. If I was like, Jared, do the right thing.
Please let me know if you're pregnant.
Please let me. Yeah. How about we all go let's all take a trip to the doctor, and I'll get tested just to like make everyone feel comfortable. But I've been tested before. I don't have anything before, but I'm gonna go get tested again. You let me know if on your end if anything. But I would be apologetic that I didn't bring this up. It could be, and I'm not saying. Again, this isn't me letting them off the hook. I hope it doesn't sound that way. It could be that they're going. I felt awkward. I didn't know what to say.
Right.
I thought I was wearing a condom, then it wasn't there, and I didn't know where it could have gone.
Should have said something.
I should have said something. I'm really sorry.
Yeah.
That to me is like the most likely scenario. So
I agree.
So again, like I think is it a red flag or deal breaker? I think to me right now it's a red flag.
I agree.
Right?
Yeah.
Like
I would hear him out.
And then their response.
That's what determines if it's a deal breaker or not.
Right.
Right. If it's the way you responded, I'm sorry, I'll go get tested. I kind of panicked. I didn't say anything. I should have. I'm sorry. Fine.
We were both drinking that
Yes.
night. I just didn't realize, in the same way you didn't realize you had a condom in you for 3 days. Right. Like we all have a little
make mistakes.
empathy that we all might not have realized something happened, so.
Yeah. And also the way she responded to that response would be determining the red flag or deal breaker also.
Totally.
Right.
Oh, man, I pulled that condom out of me. I came so hard. What?
You can mail it back to me.
I could understand all of her anxiety. I don't think she's wrong for going to the place she went to. I guess my thing is like there's a spectrum of these things.
I think he deserves to plead his case.
Right.
I think that's fair.
Let's hear him out.
Yes.
Well, we solved dating again.
We did it. We'll be back on Sunday with a Sunday special. Bye.
Boom.
The U Up podcast is produced by Belle Roman and Candice Maniga. Editing by Belle Roman. Social media by Candice Maniga. Be sure to follow at u.up.podcast on Instagram and send us your emails to uup@betches.com.